All right, so we have a new 9-hole cup coming up next week at the Metropolitan 9-hole cup. It's going to have no par threes, and it's at 4 different courses. So we will check it out. Let's check it out and see what we've got ahead of us. It's not up for practice yet. It's not even on Tommy's site, so I'm going to have to find the holes individually. So we got Century Harbor, hole number 4. Century Harbor, hole number 4. All right. If I remember correctly, and I may be wrong, but if I remember correctly, we were trying to hit to the island. We were bouncing off from here with like a rock, power 3 ball, and then second shot, rough bump. And I think you could do it with a grizzly. I think you were close enough that you can do it with a grizzly, or you can use a Goliath. And there's a spot down here, like this area right here where you have a little bit of maneuver. You want to try and be in that spot, so depending on the wind, you won't have to involve the sand. Give you a little bit of leeway, but there's a great rough bump down there, and if I remember correctly, we were doing a little, like I think we were adding on a little bit, but I would take the shot straight up and see where it's at. But I'm pretty sure we were landing on this island. These trees are in place, so if you end up out here, you're actually making your shot. You may not be able to get your shot straight out. You may have to come around. If I remember, I am pretty sure that we were hitting off of this, but I think we tried to get over here just to see what it looked like, and it's not good. You're in long iron here, so if you did hit it out into this area, you'd be in wood. There, you'd still have the rough bump, but I think we were hitting to the island. Pretty sure. Let's see, hole number 2, Parc de Paris, hole number 5. Parc de Paris. Okay. Are we on Parc de Paris? Parc de Paris, hole number 5. Yeah, that's not going to matter. It's going to put me in the screen, and then hole number 5. Let's make sure that this is the one. Parc de Paris, hole number 5. All right. Now, I think we're playing with the old pin placement. And the old pin placement, you can start off on this side right here with a 3 power ball. You're going to need like a, if your APOC, whichever club has the most distance, your APOC or your extra mile, because you need the raw distance to get you in front of this rough. If you bring out a 4 power ball, I think even on headwind days, you could set it up so that you could work the wind out and just pick a spot every time. Like actually on days when the wind's tailwind, instead of starting off at the red line, pull back from the red line and give yourself down in this area down here 2 or 3 rings. Like your red line might be here, and you're splitting the difference. So if it was on headwind days, if it was on tailwind days, you're not pinching this, so you don't over pull it and then clip the rough. And then on headwind days, it gives you a couple rings to pull wind out to adjust. And you're trying to get right into this area. There's a bowl right there. There's another one right here, and you can try and go over the top of this to get to that bowl, but there's a chance that you may bleed off into the sand. You'll see a lot of people during the week bleeding off into the sand right here. Those will be big fail areas. Another big fail area is they come out here and they clip the rough, and then they bleed off and their trajectory was wrong, and they end up in this rough right here. But if you bring out a 3 power ball, I think you can easily do it on tailwind days, but on headwind days, you may have to use a little bit of overpower, so it might be better to just do the whole week with a 4 power ball. That way you can pick one spot. Your second shot to the cup is going to be in, like I'm going to use my Kingfisher, it's in short iron. And there's a trough right here. You can see the trough. Let me get a little closer. You can see the trough right here where it's running along, and it's going down towards the cup, so it tends to want to break towards the cups. And a lot of the shots that you'll take in order to get the ball to it, you start off on this hill. So you're starting off in a washout, and it's like this, and you're on this side of the hill over here. So when it comes out on the other end, it wants to break. We've played this hole several times with the new pin placements, and I think the old pin placement, it breaks to the right, so you always set up on the left-hand edge of the cup instead of right at the flagpole. Or you're like here's the cup, and you're right here on the outside edge of the cup, or right up along the edge. But we have a great opportunity to pick up a shot on that second one, and it's in short iron range. If you can get up there, and you don't have to do a lot of movement to get here. You might be able to actually do a little bit of backspin. It might be like one backspin or one topspin. It's going to be not a lot of movement. Hole number 3. What is hole number 3? Hole number 3 in the tournament is Jubilee Grove. Hole number 4. Jubilee Grove. Let's see, do I have Jubilee Grove on any of these? Jubilee Grove. Hole number 4. Let's make sure that's right. Jubilee Grove, hole number 4. Hole number 4. Doesn't it seemed to me that there was a rough bump that we could do off of this, trying to bring it around, but you needed a big ass side spin ball. I mean, just looking at it here, you're either going straight at it or you're trying to utilize that rough, but it does seem to me that there was a rough bump. But if that's the case, you had to have a Goliath and you had to have a ball that had side spin. So, I mean, at the minimum, it'd be a Katana or a ball that had 4 or 5 side spin. I suppose you could try and bounce it over, but these are not my favorite types of shots. Where, number one, when you're far away from something in this situation, number one, you put the sand into play because you're bouncing over the sand. So if you got off trajectory and you're over here and you were tight on your second bounce, now you put all this shit into play, and you could have hit in front of it and taken it out of play. And number two, in order to get this shot to go in, you have to go over the sand and then carry the speed to get up to the cup, and then you get to a point where the ball's just kind of floating along the ground. And if the ground goes off that way, it goes off that way. And if the ground goes off that way, the ball goes off that way. And if it goes like this, the ball does that shit, because the ball is just like floating along with the ground and washing out. And it's hard at the very end to, like, you can make a shot and then you can do the same thing and same wind and you miss it because it caught one of these going just a little bit different speed. Whereas if you start up closer to the hole where the ball is going to bounce, make a bounce, and then it's going to dribble into the cup, the only variable here is the spot where it's dribbling into the cup. Like, we're trying to get it tight there. That's why it's always best if you can come in with like a 1 or 2 backspin. And so in order to do that, you definitely want to be in front of this. But I really do believe that we have a rough bump that we can do here. We'll see as the tournament goes on. I'll have to remember how to play this hole. Okay, that was and that's a par 4. Is that a par 4? Hole 3, Jubilee Grove, par 4. Is that the right hole? There's no way that's the right hole. No, that's Kings Park. Oh, that's the Kings Park tournament. What was that? Hole number 4, Jubilee Grove. This is Jubilee Grove, hole 2, par 4, par 3. No, that can't be right. Oh, this is Jubilee Grove 2. Let's see if we can find Jubilee Grove. It's Kings Park. Ah, Jubilee Grove 2. Where's Jubilee Grove? Maybe the hole was different. Maybe they changed the hole order. Is Jubilee Grove in here? There's got to be a Jubilee Grove 1. Maybe. I took the time to set all this up so I had all of the holes so I wouldn't have to walk you through the... there's Jubilee Grove. Rewind tournament. Jubilee Grove, Old Bridge, Quail Hollow. Jubilee Grove, hole 7. I guess maybe that's the deal. Maybe it's wrong here somewhere. London and Christmas in London. Jubilee Grove, hole 1, 2, 3. Ah, there's a 4. No, it's still a par 3. So hole 4, Jubilee Grove, hole 4. Jubilee Grove 4. Like, what hole are they showing me here? What does that hole look like? Let's go see if we can find that hole. because that is definitely not Jubilee Grove 4. Par 5. Par 4. I think it might be that hole right there. It's got the sand trap look to it. Yeah, I think that's the hole right there. There should be a little area. Is there a little area off to the side there? Yes, it's kind of hard to see here, but I think there is a little landing pad right there. I think my buddy Dunner was actually trying to land on that pad, and he was taking the shot to get in. And I'm actually trying to get, okay, first of all, on this hole, you do not, let me repeat, let me span out a little. You do not want to end up on the green low here, because the putt's almost impossible. I'm not actually trying to get on the green. I'm trying to be like right here off the edge, and you could use with an APOC, and I believe side spin is key here, and I think you can do it with a Kingmaker with the 3 side spin, but a 4 side spin ball was better. And I was doing very little spin, and so it was only like a couple top spin. And trying to, somewhere out here is your red line, and trying to pinch up into wherever my red line runs into this transitional area when I get into that corner. So I'm in this type of situation where the hole, did I get the hole wrong? I moved it. What hole was that? Let's go back one. See if it puts me back on that screen. Yeah. So when you're in this situation and you're in this area, right, I'm trying to pull up here so that I'm 2 rings off of this transitional surface in my swing, so my ball guide's going off in this direction, and I'm trying to make up that angle. And it works better with a 4 side spin ball, where you can, like, if you have a 4 side spin ball, you can do it. But I noticed something on this hole the last time we played it, that as far as like where your red line is, like your red line is such that you could easily get into the mouth of this, and if you had a topspin boost ball, you might be able to come this way, and with like 5 topspin, put the topspin on. The only problem there is, or with the 4 topspin boost, the only problem there is that you have to put so much on it in order to get it to clear that you'd probably carry. So it'd probably be a rough bump, and then you'd bleed out into this area, but it's still a decent shot. But you can get into this area with the max curl shot, not a max overpower hook, just a max curl. And you could do a max overpower hook shot here, but you'd have to practice it, because you'd probably be able to bring out, if you didn't have access to any 4 side spin balls, you could probably whip it around there with a max overpower hook shot with a 3 side spin ball. But Dunner was trying to go straight forward and hit it here, and then bounce over and rough bump onto this little island, and then taking the shot from the island with an inbringer. And it was like a mid inbringer shot. All right, we tracked it down. I think they have it wrong. We got Jubilee Grove 4, and it should be Jubilee Grove 8. Maple Bay 5. Let's make sure we're looking at the right holes. Since now, that's one more thing we got to check. Maple Bay hole number 5. I'll just go in. Go in and go to hole number 5. Is that the right hole? I think it is. All right, there is several ways to play this hole. You can, if you bring out the right stuff, you can come off of this and try and bleed out here, and obviously the closer you can get, the better off you are. There is a rough bump that you can do on this, so bring rough bump clubs, because there is a rough bump available. You can go straight at it, but there is a rough bump available. And anywhere out in here, like this is a fail spot where you came across and you bridged it here and you ran out of fairway. So from the tee box, if we draw a straight line out in here into our zone, we're like this, so we're trying to cover this angle, getting it down into this area as much as we can. This is where the spin boost balls work. This is especially good if you can bring out the right ball. So like I'm just picking a spot, because I think your red line is, your red line might be here. No, but I think it is out here. and you're trying to get across that, you can pull back from your red line a little bit. Give yourself room so that on headwind days you could take the same shot and end up in the same spot. And then, because this is just a layup shot, the only shot here that matters is this shot. And so whatever this shot happens to be, if you're consistently getting there, then this is the shot that's important. You got a great rough bump. It's hard to kind of go at it here because of the way that the course is. It's easier to actually do the rough bump. The other way you can go is you can try and hit it all the way out here to the end, but you want to bring out enough stuff because depending on what your wood is, this is wood range. It might be, depending on your stuff, it might be long iron, but this rough coming out, you want to be up here so that you can really direct towards the course. If you're trying to give yourself a little bit of, if you didn't bring out the right stuff, you may find yourself out here, and so you're looking at this shot and now you're trying to swing this angle. And so if you run all your top spin out like on a sniper and you did all the max curl, you're going to end up in this rough back here quite a bit. So what you could do on that shot is pull the shot back just a little. So like watch your second bounce. So if your second bounce is here, you might be able to pull your shot back on this side so you can get back a little bit more to the left. And then when you curl, you have to account for, here's the rough. When you put curl on it, can you bridge this distance without clipping the rough? And then try and get a little bit more of a run to the cup. Instead of trying to get closer to your red line, pull a little bit farther back. But there is a shot from out here. And if you bring the right stuff, it's a really nice shot. I mean, like, and you don't have to bring out too much stuff, but like if you brought out a Guardian or if you brought out a bigger hitting ball, and you may not need the bigger hitting ball for the drive, but you definitely want it for the second shot. But if you can get out to here, you definitely need a bigger ball to get there. And then you've put yourself into a short iron range, and that's big, really big. You can take that same rough bump from here, and if you draw the arc, you know, you're in short iron, here you might be in long iron, here you're in wood. So you could just lay it up on the tip and you've got that same rough bump. You'll definitely have to take it with a Goliath. All right, that was hole number, what hole was that? Well, it probably says right here. Does it say? It does say somewhere. Somewhere, where are we at? Maple Bay, hole number 5. Jeez, are you blind? Maple Bay, hole number 5. Because our next one is Parc de Paris, hole number 4. One of these was Parc de Paris. I think this one was Parc de Paris. Let's go hole number 4. No, that's not right. That's par 3. What does it look like? Parc de Paris. It's got 2 big ass sand trap. Is it 1? Let's go back 1, where we can see all the holes. 2 big ass sand traps. Hole number 9, no. New. I think it was this hole right here. Hole number 1. It had a straight up, and then it had a big sand trap in the middle, and it had a sand trap right up there by the... Yeah, it had a big one in the front, and then the big one in the middle, and the stuff off to the right. So hole number 5 is Parc de Paris, hole number 1. Jeez, are we having to work for it today or what? To get this information this early, we're having to work this hard for it. All right. Okay, you can hit it over to here. It's kind of a difficult shot to come up to the cup because you're coming from distance out here, and if I remember correctly, it's probably wood, depending on what ball you bring. There is a rough bump that you can do up here at the top, and it's like, here's the rough bump, and then it's way down the hill to the green. So it's kind of a weird rough bump, and then the sand's just on, like, falls off on the other side. You can try and use backspin to come at it. You're going to see a lot of people that are bouncing from here doing a rough bump and then bleeding out and ending up right there and taking this shot to the cup. That's going to probably be the most popular shot you're going to see this week, is that combo. If you bring out the right stuff, and I will tell you that in tailwind, in my experience on this hole, if you got tailwind, and let's say the tailwind was 4 miles an hour, Did I ask you to come on? If you had a tailwind and the wind was blowing 4 miles an hour, that it's damn near affecting your club as if you... So let's say you were using an extra mile, it's at 2.1 per ring. That's pretty much 2 rings, right? So you'd pull out 2 rings of wind. If you've got a tailwind here, you'd be moving out 4. Hey, it's affecting it at least 100% on... And on headwind days, it's the same. But on sidewind days, it doesn't seem to be as bad. If you bring out the right stuff, you can start off over on this side. Now, if you bring out a big power ball, you probably don't have to do any overpower. If you bring out like a 3 power ball and the wind's blowing tailwind, you can make it. But if the wind's blowing headwind and you bring out a 3 power ball, you can't make it. It's just killing it. And you can get a bounce right here. So you're taking this shot. You get a bounce right here and try and bring it around. There is a lane in these trees when you pull up to take up the shot. When you pull your ball guide through this, you'll see that there's a lane through the trees. And you're way above the trees. The trees aren't in play. But the deal is I use that lane as my starting spot, like where I want to get started. And then you don't have to, this isn't a max curl shot because you'd have to come out too far, and where your red line is, you'd run out of fairway. So you're using a little bit of curl to try and bring it around, and you're trying to come in so that you go through that lane and then you're close to these trees and it's coming out at the top and then rolling down to the cup, and it'll roll down to the cup. That's ideal. You can catch it if you're going this way where you get your bounces too good, and if you look over on the other side, if we zoom up here a little and we draw some lines, you're coming in on this side. So if you're coming in on this lane, draw a line right here. You can see how much more distance you have to get out of the rough. But the flip side of the coin is you're flying in here. You got bounce number 1, bounce number 2 somewhere out here, and it's kind of ripping through the deal. And you can get to the... If you catch the wind and you don't pull the wind out properly, you can clip right here, number 1, if you got tailwind. You got to pull the wind out properly. But if you get over on this side right here, your second bounce may miss the rough. You'll be that close, and you'll end up in the trees behind it. And these shots can suck. If you get out here and you're behind the trees, don't. If you can go to the cup, go to the cup. But if you can't, get over here. You can usually get over into this area and just chip it over here right off the green, and then you can make that to get back on track to get your birdie and go home. You can get in trouble behind those trees. I've been behind those trees quite a few times. I'm speaking from experience. But I'm definitely going to be going for this shot every time. But most people, I think, that you see this week are going to be trying to land right in this area right here and take that shot to the cup. I want to get on in 1. Let's not dink around here. And I'm going to bring out a power 5 ball every round so that I'm on the days when there's headwind. I'll have to figure out what to do, but you won't be able to get it done with a 3 power ball on headwind days. You'll have to switch. All right, that was Park to Perry hole number 4. Park to Perry hole number 4. So hole number 6 is Jubilee Grove 5, going over the water. Let's make sure we're picking the right holes here. Jubilee Grove. This Jubilee Grove, hole number 5. Yeah, we're going over the water. Hole number 5. Hole number 4. All right. Jubilee Grove, hole number 5. What the fuck? Jubilee Grove, hole number 5, par 5. All right. Does that look like that hole? Jubilee Grove 5, hole 6. Jubilee Grove 5. It's got water. We saw that. And that is not the hole that I'm looking at there. It's that hole right there. It's hole number 9. Why do they have that listed? All right. Now, it seemed to me if the wind was blowing right and you had the right stuff, you could try and get over here, but I'm not going. Unless I can get a bounce here and a bounce that's way in the hell up here, and then trying to get a bounce here and I'm trying to get up into this area, I'm probably never going to demo a shot to try and get on that island. And the reason is that this area right here is not like, you know, like, hey, it's fairway and it's rough. It is a fucking wall. And so if you're not on the, if you're on the grass side of that wall, it'll probably go forward. If you hit the wall, it's going to go in the drink. There's no running it up to the deal. If you're a little short, if whatever the wind's blowing and you're having to fight up against it and do max overpower and you're really short, you're in big trouble. I'm going to go, I actually, the shot that's on here that I like to take is trying to get all the way to the shadow. So there's a lamppost right here and it's casting a shadow across it and getting up into this corner. Most people this week are going to be right here. And from here, going to the cup, drawing the line. So if you're setting up a couple rings on this side, you'll have to have side spin in order to bring it back around to the cup. And so bringing out a Kingmaker, a 3 side spin ball, and the side spin will help you on the drive as well, because you're starting off on this side and then you're trying to curl side spin it to get it over here. There's a spot out there, and I'll have to find it the first time we play this hole. There's a spot out here where I bring out a 3 power ball and I pull back from the red line to like the +10 mark, and I'm 3.5 rings off. And with an APOC, it's probably 4. With an APOC, I can do a max curl shot, and it sets me on this trajectory. I think the deal was that I couldn't get enough top spin. I had the spin right, but I was ending up more like right in here, as opposed to right down here. Now here they're closer. If I could get to the area I'm looking for in the shadows and you drew a line and you did your arc for your shot, you're probably in the same exact distance that they would be from here, but you've got a straight shot at the cup and you don't have to negotiate this berm or this little rough area. You don't have to use that side spin. You can go straighter at the cup. Where I've been landing, I have a straighter shot to the cup, but I have a little teeny bit more distance. And I don't think distance is a problem on the other side. I think that like we might be actually in like mid-club. But we definitely have a shot there. And there is, I think Dunner and I, when these holes first came out, we came out here and it is possible. It's possible with a topspin boost ball and the whole deal. And it might be possible to do it with just a normal ball if you had the right wind conditions to bridge the gap from going from here to here. But I would definitely want to make sure that I only did that on days when my second bounce was like mid of this island. Because if there was a headwind day, man, headwind here and tailwind are killing it. And I think if you see some people going for this shot, I wouldn't be surprised if they failed right there. They ended up in the drink, but they failed right here. All right. That was Jubilee Grove, hole number 5. Well, hole number 9. I don't know why they have it listed as 5. Next one's hole number 7, Canteri Harbor, hole number 4. Let's make sure that hole looks the same. Centauri Harbor. Is this Centauri Harbor? Parc de Paris. Maybe the first one was Centauri Harbor. No, the last one was Centauri Harbor. No, that was Maple Bay. Now we have Centauri Harbor. Centauri Harbor, hole number... Okay, it says hole number 4. I don't think... I'm not so sure that those are right. Is that right? Hole number 4? Centauri Harbor? All that freaking sand? Is that right? Maybe. There's a lot of freaking sand traps on that. Okay, I think that is right. I think this is another one. No, I looked at this one earlier, so like they've got their holes jacked up here. I looked at it as hole number 1, but it's not actually hole number 1. So we've already looked at this hole. So disregard hole number 1. If you made it to this video and you watched hole number 1 is actually hole number 7. Or what I showed in the video is actually hole number 7. So what do we have here? That's 4. Yeah, we got Century Harbor 4, Century Harbor 4. Ah, you bastards. It's a par 4, not what hole it is. It only took me all the way through the video to figure that out. Alright, alright, alright. So what hole is hole number 1? Hole number 1's a par 4. So let's go find a par 4 in Century Harbor that we haven't looked at yet. Hole number 1. That might be it. Be either 1 or 7 or 8. That one's got water in it. Hole number 1 doesn't have water in it, and neither does the other one. So we got the first hole that I showed was actually hole number 7, and so this is hole number 1. I think on this one there was a way to try and get, if you brought the right shit out, you could try and bridge this gap and get over to the other side. And what I was doing was, if you come over here and you bring the right stuff out, you can go from this side and you hit at the top of the hill and you rough bump it down. And this hill is so steep coming down to the green that if you catch it, it'll roll it down. I think once I got caught in the rough, but it'll roll it down and it'll put it on the green side, and you've got a short chip or you're on the green. And that was the way to do it, was to try and get bounce number 1, bounce number 2, and you're trying to get bounce number 3 right in front and get down on the other side, going around the trees this direction. You could lay it up here. You can lay it up down here, and there is a shot that you can do from down here. I think we've taken that shot. There is also where you can start off where you're trying in this area and you're trying to bridge the gap to get over, so you're down on this. But I don't think I like the shot from here, because the pin, this green is like really not flat. And the pin's like here, and then like this side of the green is like really high. So if you're coming at it from this angle, you're coming at it in the side angle, and it can be like, there can be some shitty shots out here, even though you've got a nice clean shot at it. Because with that sand trap, you may have to maneuver around it. Anytime I can try and go for on the green and 1, or on the green side and 1 where I have a short chip and I'm pulling my wedge out, I'm going to go for that shot. So I'm sure that on tailwind days you can do the shot and you might not have to bring out anything special, but on headwind days you probably have to bring something special out. I think you could probably do it with a 5-power topspin boost ball, and you may be able to standardize it. I think you still need power though. Even with a 5-power ball, I think it's a max overpower shot. I think. I'm pretty sure. We'll see. All right, that was actually hole number 1. And hole number 1 was actually hole number 7. Can't you guys get this straight? I probably screwed up some of the other ones. I probably did. I'm going to have to shoot this whole damn video again. You guys are going to have to post on there and go, hey dude, when you looked at hole number 2, that was the wrong hole. I think I got the other ones right. Hole number 8, Parc de Paris. We're going across a creek in the middle. And it's a par 4. Parc de Paris. Which one of these is Parc de Paris? Hole number 1. Let's look at all the holes. Looking for a par 4 going over a creek. There's a par 4. There's a par 4 with a creek in the middle of it. Is that the one? Par 4 with a creek in the middle of it? That's the one. That is the one right there. Oh, okay, so there's a shit ton of different ways to play this hole too. And if this is the old pin placement, the green's here, and like here's the green and the pin's on this side. The new pin placement, it's over here. This is all a hill. I mean, it's hard hill. If you end up like with the old pin or with the new pin placement, if you end up over here on the drive and you're on the green, you can't make the putt. You'll have to go up over the top of this hill, out into the fairway, into the rough, down the hill, through the woods to Grandma's house we go, and it is tough. You're gonna meet the big wolf, and it's not gonna make it. It's an impossible putt. If you're over here, you want to be in front and chip it up to it, or you can be right over here and you got a straight up shot. And there's several ways you can get over here. You can do a max overpower hook shot. Use this last tree over here as your guideline. Like put your ball guide directly at the last tree and take the shot and see where it puts you. and then you'll know which direction to adjust for your clubs, and you're trying to land out in this area right here, coming along on the arc and just bleeding off. You can't overshoot this. Like if you use an extra mile 9 or an APOC, you can, if you have a bigger club and you want to bring out a bigger ball, you can start off right here and you can do a max curl shot and get bounce number 1, bounce number 2, but you can overshoot it and end up in the rough, and you'll end up right out here in front. You can come down here and just try and drive it over to the other side. I'm probably going to do a combination of, I think if you bring out a big enough ball, you can start off right here. You might be able to bring a toss down boost ball and get bounce number 1, bounce number 2, bounce number 3, and try and bleed it up, but I'm going to probably just bring out a power 5 ball, start on this side right here, and try and put myself right in front. I don't want to be on the green. And the flagpole from this direction is behind these trees, so like you don't really have a shot at it. And it's not, if you came this way and you tried to get on the course, it's not going to break towards the cup. It's going to be bad. So just trying to lay it up right out here in front where the trees are no longer in play, and then I have a nice straight up the hill shot at it. Even better. That's the shot I'm going to take this week, is this one with a power 5 ball. But there's several shots over here you can take it with a power 3, and one of them is a max overpower hook, and I'm not so sure on the max overpower hook that you couldn't bring a katana out and then trying to lay it up in this area, and you've got a short iron into the cup. There you have it. There you have it. What's the next one? What is the next one? What is the last one? Centauri Harbor. It's a par 5. It's got 4 sand traps and then some rough area and then another sand trap. Centauri Harbor, Jubilee Grove, Centauri Harbor. Let's go back one. Let's look for a par 5 that's got those characters. We'll start at the bottom. That might be it right there. Is that it? No. I think they were circled. That might be it. 1, 2, 1 in the front, 1 off to the side. No. That's not it. Looking for a par 5. Par 5. That's not it. It's the first par 5. That might be it. Sand in front, and then a little squiggly island. No. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Centauri Harbor. Hole number 9 is actually hole number 5 of hole number 3 of Centauri Harbor. Yeah, and you can switch the hole number 3. What were we doing here? Okay, if I remember correctly, from the tee box, let's get it here where we can see the tee box. From the tee box, the shot that I was trying was to come out here and hit. I think I was trying to get out into this area where I come out here and I rough bump out, and then I just bleed out, and I have like a grizzly to the cup. If you were in the rough down on the bottom, you could easily recover, but if you're up in the rough up here, you're in some shit. You're gonna have to bounce it off from this side and then get over and try and get it close enough so you can make the chip. There were some risks that were involved. I think a lot of people are going to shoot for this area right here, because this area, if you weren't trying to get down to the bottom, this area right here, as far as like going to the cup, you can work your way around the sand, and it gives you a nice straight run up to the cup, as opposed to trying to get a bounce here and then a bounce over the sand. If you're looking at that angle, then you're having to get out into this spot. As far as arc wise, these are about the same. This one's probably a little closer to the cup. So here you may have to bring out a bigger club. Cataclysm, big dog. Here you may be able to do it with a sniper. But if I remember correctly on this hole, I was trying to pound the hell out of the ball and get it down here and clip this rough. And I'm not so sure that I wasn't using this pad and trying to get bounce number 1, bounce number 2, bleed out, and just end up in the spot. And give myself a really good, and obviously I'd want to try and stay on that same track, so like if I was taking that shot, I'd want to come over and end up here. But if you draw a line across that, I got to get a lot further through the rough in order to bleed out here than I do if I'm right here. So I think I was going more for this middle spot because I didn't have to do a lot to get out of the rough. And I believe in one occasion I missed the rough and I went for a wild ride. I think I ended up in the drink. It's possible. Possible. All right, there we have it. We've had a look at it, and I'm sorry about having to look around for them, but I got that wrong on there. I figured Playdemic would make it easy on us, and they would tell us, hey, this is hole 4 is Maple Bay, hole number 6. Hole 9 is Century Harbor, hole number 3. Why wouldn't you tell us that? Why would you make it difficult on us and do the deal? There you have it. That's early. You got an early sneak peek at it, even though there were screw-ups. I think we got all the holes. If I missed a hole, and if I did miss a hole, it had to be like hole number 2. I think I got all the rest of them right. I think I went and looked at all the rest of them. But if I did screw a hole up that I missed completely, leave me a comment and I will go shoot a video on it. Thanks for watching. That was a sneak peek scouting report for the Metropolitan 9-hole Cup. Thanks for watching.